Get this peasant boy out of my sight! Jean-Pierre Dubois glares down at 12-year-old Leo Petrov as he quietly wipes down the chrome legs of the conference table. His small hands grip the microfiber cloth, trying to stay invisible. He kicks the base of the table, making the boy flinch. "Useless little cockroach," he mutters in Russian to his associate. "The janitor's worthless son." His associate chuckles. He's as dim-witted as his potato-farming father. Jean-Pierre grabs Leo's shoulder, his platinum watch digging into the boy's worn sweatshirt. "You understand nothing, do you, little serf?" Leo looks up for a second, his pale blue eyes meeting his. He says nothing, just continues his methodical polishing. Jean-Pierre shoves him aside. "These American idealists will steal their 800 million in data while this trash cleans up after us." Jean-Pierre straightens his $15,000 custom-tailored jacket, stepping on the spot Leo just cleaned. But here's what he doesn't know. This worthless child understands every single word he's saying, every insult, every detail of his cybercrime plan. And in exactly 48 hours, he'll use that knowledge to bring his entire tech empire crashing down. The hum of the server room fills the air as Leo helps his father, Mikhail, organize cleaning carts. The sterile smell of electronics mingles with the faint scent of ammonia. "Papa," Leo whispers, glancing towards the glass doors. "That man today, Mr. Dubois, he said terrible things." Mikhail doesn't look up from sorting recycling bins. "Son, you know better than to listen to the talk of powerful men. Just keep your head down." "And he said he's going to steal Ms. Vance's data." Leo's voice trembles. $800 million. Mikhail freezes, a bundle of cardboard hovering in his hands. "What are you talking about, Leo? You don't speak Russian?" "Yes, I do, Papa." Leo's words tumble out in a rush. "He called me trash. Called you a potato farmer. Said Americans are naive and he's going to trick them with backdoors in the software." The cardboard slips from Mikhail's fingers, thudding to the polished concrete floor. "My boy, that's impossible. You've never learned." "I taught myself." Leo pulls out his old tablet, scrolling to chess strategy videos. YouTube tutorials, online gaming servers. Mr. Antonov from 4C helps me with my accent, and I learned the grammar from Grandpa's old books. Mikhail stares at his son, like seeing him for the first time. You really understood what that man was saying?" "Every word." Leo's eyes fill with tears. "He's going to hurt people, Papa. The new app he's talking about, that's where Mrs. Garcia's medical data is stored, where the kids from my school have their student records." Mikhail sinks onto an overturned crate, his hands shaking. Speaking up could cost him his job, their apartment, everything they've worked for. But looking at his son's determined face, he sees something he's never noticed before. Intelligence that burns like a quiet flame. A moral compass that points true north. "What exactly did he say, son?" Leo takes a deep breath. He said Wednesday would be too late to stop the data transfer. "Papa, we have to tell someone. We have to tell Miss Vance." "Miss Vance?" Mikhail's voice cracks. "Son, she's not going to listen to us." We're just what, Papa? Just the janitors? Just nobody?" The question hangs in the air like a challenge. The night security chief's hand hovers over his radio as Mikhail approaches the top floor, Leo trailing behind in his hoodie and sneakers. "Mikhail, Ms. Vance didn't authorize any—" "It's okay, Gary." Eleanor Vance's voice echoes from her office doorway. She looks curious, not annoyed. "Mr. Petrov, is everything all right? It's quite late." Mikhail's hands twist the work gloves he's still holding. "Ms. Vance, ma'am, I'm sorry to bother you, but my son, he says he heard something important about your merger tomorrow." Eleanor's eyebrows raise as she studies Leo, who stands half hidden behind his father. "Your son. Come in, both of you." The office smells like modern steel and green tea. Leo perches on the edge of a minimalist chair, his feet barely touching the ground. Now then, Eleanor settles behind her sleek desk. What's this about? The man with the shiny watch, Leo begins quietly. Mr. Dubois, he spoke in Russian. He said things. Russian? Eleanor leans forward. Honey, I don't think you understand. He said you're a fool, that Americans are naive and easy to trick. Leo's voice grows stronger. He's planning to steal your user data through hidden code. Eleanor exchanges glances with Mikhail, then speaks gently. Sweetheart? Sometimes grown-ups use big words that sound scary, but... Leo straightens up. The Russian flows from his lips with a perfect, crisp accent. Eleanor's tea mug freezes halfway to her mouth. We'll siphon everything from this bleeding heart company, Leo translates. Then his associate laughed and said, their cybersecurity is a joke. He switches back to English. They have no expertise with polymorphic code. Eleanor sets down her cup with shaking hands. How do you know Russian? YouTube, mostly, and my grandpa's old chess books. I help translate for the new kids from Ukraine at the community center. Leo pulls out his tablet. Want me to show you? He opens a tech news site and plays a clip from a Russian product launch. As the rapid-fire Russian flows from the speaker, Leo translates simultaneously. The presenter is saying the new satellite has military-grade encryption. The rival company claims the launch is a cover for illegal surveillance technology. Eleanor's jaw drops. The translation is flawless, capturing not just words, but technical context and industry nuance. Leo. Her voice is barely a whisper. What exactly did Mr. Dubois say about our merger? He used special Russian programmer slang mixed with regular talking to confuse any translator you might hire. He said the real code gives him root access after 48 hours, not you, and there are hidden scripts that will copy all your data before you can stop him. He slides off the chair and approaches her desk. Ms. Vance, can I see the source code? With trembling hands, Eleanor pulls out a laptop with the code sections. Leo scans them quickly, his young finger tracing the lines. Right here. He points to a seemingly innocent function. This says temporary data sync. But in the Russian coding framework, temporary actually means until primary archive is complete. And this command here, he taps another line. In St. Petersburg slang, it means full data ownership, not shared access, like your translator probably said. Eleanor stares at the code, then at this 12-year-old who just exposed a multi-million-dollar cyber heist. There's more, Ms. Vance. Leo's voice drops to a whisper. He said something about other American tech firms they've done this to before, and he laughed about how easy it is because Americans never learn Russian well enough to catch them. The office falls silent, except for the hum of the air purifiers. Eleanor looks at Mikhail, who appears as stunned as she is. Mr. Petrov, Eleanor finally says, your son may have just saved our company from the biggest data breach in our history. Leo climbs back into the chair. Ms. Vance, the signing is tomorrow, right? He said he moved it up because he wants to finish the transfer before anyone gets suspicious. Eleanor reaches for her phone with shaking hands. I need to call my security team now. Wait. Leo holds up a small hand. He also said something about having a backup contact already paid off to help them if anything goes wrong. Someone in your company. The room temperature seems to drop 10 degrees. 7-year-old Leo pressed his face against their apartment window, watching the Ukrainian family across the courtyard struggle with online school registration. Mrs. Kovalenko held official emails, tears streaming down her face as she tried to communicate with a school district IT person on the phone. Papa, why is she crying? Leo had asked. Mikhail pulled his son close. Sometimes, my boy, when people can't speak the same language, they can't get help, even when they really need it. That night, Leo watched his first Russian language chess tutorial. Present day, Eleanor's office. I started with Spanish, Leo explains quietly, his small hands folded in his lap. For the kids at school whose parents couldn't understand the school website. Then Russian when the families from Kiev started moving into our building. Eleanor leans forward, captivated. How many languages do you speak, Leo? 5 fluently, working on 2 more. He shrugs like it's nothing special. Mrs. Rodriguez taught me Spanish. Mr. Chen helps with Mandarin. I teach myself the others online. Mikhail's voice breaks with pride and pain. He stays up until midnight sometimes, watching foreign tech news, helping neighbors fill out online forms. I thought he was just playing games on that tablet. Why languages, honey? Eleanor asks gently. Leo looks up with eyes too wise for his age. Because when people can't understand each other, bad things happen. Kids get scared. Families get stuck. People like Mr. Dubois think they can trick everyone. He pulls a worn notebook from his backpack, pages filled with Russian script, Spanish vocabulary, Mandarin characters, all in his careful 12-year-old handwriting. Papa always says our minds are our best tool, but he also says tools are meant to be used to build, not hidden away. Leo traces a Russian phrase in his notebook. This says, knowledge is power. I learned it from helping Mr. Antonov with his citizenship test. Eleanor studies the notebook, amazed by the depth of study. Leo, this is university-level work. I know. His voice is a matter of fact. But university costs money we don't have, so I learn for free and I help who I can. Mikhail wipes his eyes. My boy translates IT manuals for our neighbors, helps parents at the library. I didn't know he was this smart. You always knew, Papa, Leo whispers. You just didn't know other people would listen. Wednesday morning. Conference room. I need you to be my secret weapon, Eleanor whispers to Leo as they stand outside the glass conference room. Can you handle that? Leo nods, clutching his tablet. Inside, he can see Dubois pacing while speaking rapidly into his phone in Russian, of course. Remember, you're just here with your dad while he works. Act like a normal kid. Can you do that? Yes, ma'am. But his hands tremble as he pulls out a drawing app on his tablet. Eleanor opens the door. Gentlemen, my apologies. Our facilities staff needs to finish up in here. They'll be very quiet. Dubois barely glances at Mikhail and Leo as they enter. To him, they're furniture. Leo spreads his supplies on the floor near the wall, close enough to hear everything but far enough to appear uninvolved. He starts sketching a robot, blue and silver legs taking shape, as Dubois continues his phone conversation. Da, vesio idiot po planu, he says into his phone. Yes, everything is going according to plan. Leo's stylus pauses for just a moment, then continues moving across the screen. Amerykanci niczego nie znają o polymorfnym kodzie. My использujemy tu lazeku, żeby polnościu kontrolować projekt. The Americans know nothing about polymorphic code. We'll use this loophole to control the project completely. A robot arm gets sketched a little too hard, the stylus pressing deep into the screen protector. Dubois' associate enters, closing the door behind him. Wy говорить po-angliski tak, żeby nie wyzwać podozrení? Are you speaking English in a way that raises suspicions? Niet, oni wse bez poniatia. No jest nebolszaja problema. Jurist, któremu mi zapłacili w kompanii, skazał, kto to хоче перепровірити деталі projekta. No, they're all clueless. But there's a small problem. The lawyer we paid off in the company said someone wants to review the project details. Leo reaches to change the color of his stylus, accidentally dropping it. It clatters across the concrete floor. Sorry, he whispers, scrambling to pick it up. Both Dubois and his associate ignore him completely. Kto to? The associate asks. Ja nie znaju, no my zastavim jego soglasicia, inače ma jego uniktojim. I don't know, but we'll make him agree or we'll destroy him. Dubois' laugh is cold. Leo's small hands freeze around the stylus. A kto nashot danych polzovatele? And what about the user data? Vetum tu I've prelist. My zebrom dania I prodadim ich na hornom rynke. Vse eti ljudi ostanucia bez zaszczyty. That's the beautiful part. We'll take the data and sell it on the black market. All these people will find themselves unprotected. The blue stylus snaps in Leo's grip. Dubois checks his expensive watch. Vizyo bude zakończeno. Everything will be finished. As the two men leave, Leo slowly puts away his broken stylus. His robot drawing lies forgotten. One arm beautifully detailed, one arm a jagged scar where his stylus pressed too hard when he heard about families losing their privacy. Eleanor approaches quietly. Well? Leo looks up with tears in his eyes. Ms. Vance, it's worse than we thought, and we don't have much time. Vance Technologies' main boardroom, 30 minutes later. Eleanor stands before her senior partners, Leo sitting small and quiet in an oversized chair beside her. The polished steel table stretches between them like a courtroom divide. Let me understand this correctly. Senior VP Amelia Chen adjusts her glasses. You want to delay an $800 million merger because of something a child claims to have overheard? Amelia, if you just listen to what he... Eleanor, partner Robert Davies interrupts, his voice dripping condescension. Are we really taking cybersecurity advice from the janitor's son? This is absurd. He's 12 years old. Chen's voice rises. Children mishear things. They make up stories for attention. This is exactly what happens when you let the help bring their kids to work. Leo's small hands clench in his lap, but he stays silent. Gentlemen, ladies, Eleanor tries again. He speaks fluent Russian. He understood. Oh, please. Partner James Wallace leans back in his designer chair. These kids watch too much YouTube. Probably picked up a few words from some video game and thinks he's a spy. Maybe he misunderstood what he heard, Davies adds dismissively. You know how these people can be. They see conspiracies everywhere. The room falls silent. The classist implication hangs in the air like poison gas. Mikhail shifts uncomfortably by the door, wanting to grab his son and run. Furthermore, Chen continues, even if this child did hear something, we have professional translators. We have code reviewed by the best minds from MIT. Are you suggesting we trust a 12-year-old over Caltech graduates? I'm suggesting, Eleanor's voice hardens, that we listen to someone who might have information we need. Wallace snorts. Information? Eleanor, he's a kid from the wrong side of the tracks. He should be in shop class, not in boardrooms making up fairy tales about international cybercrime. What's next? Davies laughs. Are we going to consult the maintenance guy about our IPO strategy? Ask the security guard to review our patents? That's enough. Eleanor slams her hand on the table. But Chen isn't finished. Eleanor, I understand you want to be progressive, but this is a business, not a charity. We can't make decisions based on the fantasies of some janitor's boy. Watch your mouth, Amelia. Or what? You'll have me fired for speaking the truth? This little boy needs to be back where he belongs, at home, playing video games, not pretending to understand adult business. Leo finally speaks, his voice barely above a whisper. May I ask Mr. Davies something? The partners exchange glances. Chen rolls her eyes. Go ahead, honey, Eleanor encourages. Leo looks directly at Davies. You quoted Blaise Pascal in your intro, but you misattributed the quote. It wasn't about business, it was about theology. The full context changes the meaning entirely. The room goes dead silent. Also, Mr. Wallace, when you said we should trust the best minds, you used a split infinitive. It should be to trust fully, if you're being precise. Wallace's face reddens. And, Ms. Chen, you said, these people twice. I counted. My papa taught me that when someone says, these people, they usually mean, people I don't respect. Chen's mouth opens and closes like a fish. Eleanor smiles grimly. Now, shall we test his Russian? Or are you convinced that intelligence doesn't come with a zip code? The senior partners shift uncomfortably in their expensive suits, suddenly very interested in their legal pads. Boardroom. 45 minutes before signing. Eleanor turns to her humbled partners. Gentlemen, ladies, meet our new cybersecurity consultant. Leo, are you ready to help us save this company? The senior partners sit in stunned silence as Eleanor outlines the plan. Dubois' team will be here in 30 minutes for final negotiations. Leo will sit quietly in the corner with his tablet, appearing to play a simple game. In reality, he'll monitor all Russian communications and feed them intelligence. Chen starts to object, but Eleanor cuts her off. Amelia, unless you suddenly learned Russian overnight, I suggest you listen. Leo opens his tablet and shows them a simple puzzle game. I'll use this to send you signals. Red gem means they're lying. Blue gem means important information. Green gem means they're telling the truth about something. That's actually quite sophisticated, Davies admits reluctantly. The boardroom doors open. Dubois strides in with his legal team, speaking rapid Russian to his associate. Podpisanie. Dengi budut polnościu w naszych rukach. The signing. The money will be completely in our hands. Leo's finger moves across his tablet screen. To anyone watching, he's just playing a game, but he taps a red gem that appears as a notification on Eleanor's phone. Gentlemen, welcome. Eleanor greets Dubois' team warmly. Ready to finalize this partnership? Of course, Dubois smiles, though I must say some of these source code licensing terms seem quite favorable to your company, perhaps too favorable. He's testing them, seeing if they'll negotiate against their own interests. Leo quickly taps a blue gem. Eleanor glances at her phone. Actually, Jean-Pierre, I think the terms are fair as written. 50-50 partnership, shared IP, equal profit distribution, standard international tech merger structure. Dubois' associate whispers in Russian, Pokhoje, oni nie znają o skrytych poложениях. It seems they don't know about the hidden clauses. Blue gem on Eleanor's screen. However, Eleanor continues smoothly, I'd like to review Module 4.7b once more, the third-party data integration structure. Dubois' face twitches. That module contains some of his most carefully hidden traps. Kak on ob etom uznayet? How does he know this? Dubois hisses to his associate. Red gem, blue gem, red dot. Leo's little fingers work quickly, his puzzle game becoming a sophisticated intelligence-gathering tool. Is there a problem with Module 4.7b? Eleanor asks innocently. No, no problem. Dubois lies smoothly, though perhaps we could discuss the timeline modifications. He launches into a complex explanation, switching between English and Russian to confuse the Americans. But Leo catches every word. His tablet shows Eleanor a simple notification, a calendar icon with 90 days crossed out and 48 hours written beside it. Interesting, Eleanor muses. So, you're proposing to accelerate the data migration from 90 days to 48 hours? That seems quite aggressive. Dubois freezes. He never mentioned timeline changes in English. Kak on eto uslyshal? How did he hear that? Dubois' associate asks in Russian. Ya ne znаю, no mi dolzny bite ostorozny. I don't know, but we must be careful. Dubois' eyes sweep the room suspiciously. His gaze passes over Leo, who appears completely absorbed in his puzzle game on his tablet. Just a child playing games while adults conduct business. "Mr. Dubois," Eleanor says calmly, "I think we need to discuss the real terms you're proposing. All of them. In detail." Dubois' confident smile begins to crack. Wallace whispers to Chen, "How is Eleanor doing this?" Chen watches Leo's innocent face as the child continues his game, then whispers back, "I think we owe someone an apology." Eleanor's private office. During the recess, Eleanor closes her office door and sits across from Leo in the small seating area, away from the imposing desk. For the first time all day, she's not a powerful CEO, just a mother figure talking to a remarkable child. "Can I tell you something, Leo?" Her voice is gentle, vulnerable. "When I was your age, nobody listened to me either." Leo looks up from his tablet, surprised. "I grew up in a small town in Pennsylvania. My dad was a coal miner. My mom was a waitress." Eleanor's eyes grow distant. "I was the first person in my family to go to college. You know what my high school guidance counselor told me?" "What?" "Kids like you don't become CEOs. You should aim for something more realistic." Eleanor shakes her head. "I was angry for years, but then I realized something. Being underestimated can be a superpower." "How?" "Because when people expect nothing from you, you can surprise them, like you did today." Eleanor leans forward. "But Leo, I need you to know something important. What happened in that boardroom? That wasn't just about business." "What do you mean?" "My son Alex is your age. He's smart. Not as smart as you, but smart. And sometimes he comes home from school upset because kids make fun of him for being in the robotics club, for knowing too many answers." Her voice cracks slightly. "If someone dismissed Alex the way my partners dismissed you today, I'd be heartbroken." Leo fidgets with his broken stylus. "People think I'm weird because I like coding more than sports." "You know what's weird? A world where a 12-year-old has to save adults from their own ignorance." Eleanor smiles sadly. "Leo, what you did today, understanding those Russian conversations, catching that malware, that wasn't luck. That was years of hard work, dedication, and natural brilliance. I just wanted to help people like the Ukrainian kids at the community center who can't talk to their teachers. And that's exactly why you're special. You didn't learn 5 languages to show off. You learned them to serve others." Eleanor's voice grows firm with conviction. "That's the difference between intelligence and wisdom. You have both." Mikhail appears in the doorway. "They're calling us back." Eleanor stands and offers Leo her hand. "Ready to change history, partner?" Leo takes her hand, his small fingers wrapping around hers. "Miss Vance, when this is over, can I meet Alex? Maybe I can show him some code." "He'd love that. He could teach you about building robots. He's obsessed." For a moment, they're just two people who understand what it means to be underestimated, walking together toward justice. Boardroom. Final confrontation. Dubois returns with a briefcase full of new documents and a coldness in his eyes that wasn't there before. His associate carries a digital recorder. They're being extra careful now. "Ms. Vance." Dubois' voice is silk over steel. "I've brought revised contracts, final terms, non-negotiable." He spreads thick legal documents across the table. The Russian sections are even more complex than before, dense technical text mixed with modern programming slang. These require immediate signature. Market conditions have shifted. Eleanor glances at Leo, who sits innocently in his corner, tablet in hand. To Dubois, he's invisible furniture. "Of course, but I'd like our cybersecurity consultant to review the Russian sections first." "Your consultant?" Dubois' eyebrows raise. "I wasn't aware you had Russian expertise in-house." "Recent acquisition," Eleanor says smoothly. Dubois' associate whispers urgently, Nam stoit bespokojcia ob etom? Should we be concerned about this? Niet, ich ruski jurist segodnia nie zdes, I oni nie mogут poniat stary jazyk, kotory ja ispolzoval. No, their Russian lawyer isn't here today, and they can't understand the archaic language I used. Leo's finger traces a casual circle on his tablet. He's matching gems, anyone watching would think, but Eleanor's phone shows a red gem. These contracts, Dubois continues in English, reflect standard international merger terms: 90-day transition period, shared oversight, mutual profit distribution. His words sound reasonable, professional, but in Russian, he tells his associate, Nastoящий tekst дает нам полный контроль всего через 48 часов. И когда они попытаются разорвать контракт, они заплатят 250 миллионов штрафов. The real text gives us complete control after only 48 hours, and when they try to break the contract, they'll pay 250 million in penalties. Blue gem, red gem, blue gem on Eleanor's screen. Leo matches a sequence of gems that looks like a house with numbers, 48 hours and $250 million. Interesting timeline, Eleanor muses, studying the English version. I see 90 days mentioned here, but I'm curious about enforcement mechanisms. Dubois freezes. The English version clearly states 90 days. How does she know about the 48 hours? Tishina. Mojet bait. Eto bila dogadka. Quiet. Maybe it was a guess, the associate hisses. Red gem appears on Eleanor's phone. Mr. Dubois, could you clarify the penalty structure? The Russian seems quite comprehensive. Dubois' confidence cracks. What penalty structure? The 250 million in liquidated damages mentioned in Section 73C of the Russian text. The temperature in the room drops 10 degrees. Dubois' face goes pale. Eto nevozможно. Oni ne могут читать по-русски на этом уровне. This is impossible. They can't read Russian at this level. Должен быть шпион? There must be a spy. Both gems, red and blue, flash frantically on Eleanor's screen. Dubois' eyes scan the room like a predator seeking prey. They pass over the senior partners, the legal assistants, Eleanor herself, and land on Leo. The little boy sits quietly, playing his puzzle game, completely absorbed in his childish pastime. Dubois stares at him for a long, suspicious moment. Then he walks over to his chair. Little boy, his voice is deceptively gentle. What are you playing? A game, Leo answers without looking up, continuing to play. Как тебя зовут, маленький мальчик? What's your name, little girl? The question is a trap. If he understands, he'll react. Leo continues playing, showing no sign he heard anything unusual. Тебе нравятся игры? Do you like games? Still no reaction. Dubois relaxes slightly. Just a stupid child, after all. But then he notices something. Leo's finger paused for just a microsecond when he spoke Russian. Ty uwren, что он не понимает? You're sure he doesn't understand? He asks his associate. This time, Leo's hand definitely trembles. Dubois' eyes narrow. He kneels down beside his chair, his expensive suit bringing him to eye level. Ty nas poнимаешь? Do you understand us? Leo looks up with big, innocent eyes. Are you talking to me, mister? I don't speak French. Russian, child, Russian. Oh, no, I only speak English and a little Spanish from school. But Dubois sees something in his eyes, a flicker of intelligence, of understanding. Я хочу, чтобы ты немедленно покинул эту комнату. I want you to leave this room immediately. Leo blinks, looking confused. Papa? He calls to Mikhail. But Dubois isn't fooled. He spent decades reading people, detecting lies, recognizing threats. Miss Vance, his voice turns deadly serious. I want this child removed from the room, now. Jean-Pierre, he's just... now! Dubois slams his hand on the table, I will not conduct business with unauthorized persons present, especially not— He glances at Leo with pure venom. Unwanted observers. Eleanor's jaw tightens. He stays. Then we have no deal. Dubois begins gathering his documents. The moment of truth. Millions of dollars hang in the balance. Eleanor's entire firm's future rests on her next decision. She looks at Leo, this brave little boy who's risked everything to expose the truth. Leo, Eleanor says clearly, would you please tell Mr. Dubois in Russian exactly what you heard him say about the $250 million penalty clause? The room goes dead silent. Dubois' face turns white as paper, and Leo stands up, looks Dubois directly in the eyes, and speaks in perfect, crystal-clear Russian. I heard you say that the real text gives you complete control after only 48 hours, and that the Americans will pay $250 million in penalties when they try to break the contract. Dubois staggers backward like he's been shot. The stupid little peasant boy just destroyed his entire criminal empire. Boardroom. The dramatic reversal. The silence stretches like a taut wire, ready to snap. Dubois stares at Leo as if he's materialized from thin air. No longer invisible. No longer dismissible. No longer just a child. Eto nevozможno. The words escape his lips like a death rattle. Leo steps forward, his tablet clutched in his small hands, and addresses the room in clear, confident English. Mr. Dubois has been speaking Russian this entire time because he believed none of you could understand him. He called me a cockroach, useless pest, and worthless trash. He called my papa a potato farmer. He said, Americans are naive and easy to fool. His voice grows stronger with each word. But worse than the insults, he's been planning to steal $800 million worth of your data through malicious code. The Russian text gives him complete control of your servers after 48 hours, not 90. If you try to stop him, you pay $250 million in penalties. And the user data from millions of families? He plans to sell it all on the black market. Dubois' associate bolts for the door, but Eleanor's security team, quietly summoned during the recess, blocks his exit. Furthermore, Leo continues, pulling up his tablet, I recorded everything. He taps the screen. Dubois' voice fills the room, speaking in Russian with English subtitles scrolling across the tablet. We'll siphon everything from this bleeding heart company. Their cybersecurity is a joke. We'll make him agree or we'll destroy him. The people will find themselves unprotected. Chen's hand flies to her mouth. Wallace goes pale. Davies stares at Leo like he's seeing an angel. You recorded me? Dubois' voice is barely a whisper. I recorded everything, Mr. Dubois, including you laughing about how you've done this to other American companies before, including you mentioning the backup contact you bribed in this firm. Eleanor steps forward. Jean-Pierre Dubois, I'm canceling this merger effective immediately. Furthermore, I'm reporting attempted wire fraud to the FBI, the Securities Exchange Commission, and international authorities. Wait! Dubois raises his hands desperately. Please, let me explain. Explain to a federal judge, Eleanor cuts him off. But Leo isn't finished. He walks directly to Dubois, this small 12-year-old boy facing down a man who tried to steal nearly $1 billion. Mr. Dubois, his voice is calm, mature beyond his years. Do you remember what you called me when I was cleaning the table? Dubois' mouth opens and closes soundlessly. You called me a useless little cockroach and told someone to get me out of your sight. You kicked the table I was cleaning. You grabbed my shoulder so hard it left a mark. He pulls down the collar of his hoodie, showing the faint red marks from his watch. But you know what's funny? While you were busy thinking I was worthless, I was busy saving $800 million in assets and protecting millions of families from losing their privacy. The words hit Dubois like physical blows. And now, Leo's voice carries the quiet authority of absolute justice. Everyone will know that a 12-year-old boy you called garbage was smart enough to stop your entire criminal operation. Dubois collapses into a chair, his empire crumbling around him. Eleanor places her hand on Leo's shoulder. Ladies and gentlemen, I present Leo Petrov, the youngest chief cybersecurity analyst in tech history, and the person who just saved our company from the largest fraud attempt we've ever faced. The room erupts in applause, slow at first, then thunderous. Chen stands. Leo, I don't know how to apologize for what I said earlier. You showed more intelligence and courage in one morning than I've shown in my entire career. Wallace nods vigorously. The board needs to hear about this immediately. We need to create a formal recognition program. Already done, Eleanor interrupts. She pulls out an official document. Effective immediately, Leo Petrov is appointed junior cybersecurity consultant with a full educational trust, his own lab, and compensation appropriate to the value he's provided this firm. Mikhail steps forward, tears streaming down his face. Ms. Vance, we can't. This is too much. Mr. Petrov, Eleanor turns to him with deep respect. Your son didn't just save our company. He exposed international cybercrime that could have hurt countless families. This isn't charity. It's payment for services that no amount of money could truly cover. Davies approaches Leo hesitantly. Could I shake your hand? I've never met anyone quite like you. As Leo shakes hands with the senior partner, the same people who called him a liar and a fantasist. An hour ago, Dubois makes one last desperate attempt. Please, he begs Eleanor. I have family, children of my own. If this goes public, I'll lose everything. Leo turns to him, and for a moment his 12-year-old compassion shows through. Mr. Dubois, I hope your children never have to hear adults call them worthless because of how they look or where they come from. I hope they never have to prove they're smart enough to exist in the same room as you. His kindness is more devastating than any accusation. But you tried to steal data that belongs to kids like me. You tried to hurt my community, my friends, my neighbors. So no, I can't help you now. Eleanor's phone buzzes with notifications. News outlets already picking up the story. 12-year-old genius exposes billion-dollar cyber heist. Janitor's son saves major tech firm. Child prodigy outsmarts international criminal. Leo, Eleanor kneels down to his level. There are going to be reporters, interviews, maybe even job offers, but I want you to know you never have to be anyone's symbol or spokesman. You're a child first, a genius second. Can I still help the Ukrainian kids with their translation? You can do whatever makes you happy. Chen clears her throat awkwardly. Leo, would you be willing to teach some of us basic Russian? I realize we have significant gaps in our international capabilities. Leo looks up at the woman who called him the janitor's boy just hours ago. Of course, Miss Chen. Learning new languages is fun. Even grown-ups can do it if they try really hard. The gentle innocence of the response, devoid of malice despite the earlier cruelty, brings tears to Chen's eyes. As FBI agents arrive to arrest Dubois and his associate, Leo sits in Eleanor's chair behind the massive steel desk, his small frame dwarfed by the executive furniture, but his presence commanding the entire room. The worthless trash Dubois tried to sweep away has become the most powerful person in the building, and he's only 12 years old. 1 year later, Vance Technologies. The brass nameplate on the lab door reads, Leo Petrov, Junior Cybersecurity Analyst. Inside, 13-year-old Leo sits at a custom-built workstation, reviewing code in 3 different languages, while his homework lies open nearby, advanced physics that would challenge most college students. His office walls display certificates of recognition from the FBI, the Department of Homeland Security, and 3 universities offering him early admission. but the spot of honor goes to a framed photo. Leo teaching coding to a group of refugee children at the community center, all of them laughing at something he's written on the whiteboard. A soft knock interrupts his concentration. Eleanor enters with a young boy who looks remarkably like her. "Leo, I'd like you to meet my son, Alex." Alex, sandy-haired and shy, clutches a small robot and stares at Leo with a mixture of awe and nervousness. "Mom says you speak like 100 languages," Alex whispers. "Only 7 fluently," Leo grins, closing his textbook. "But I'm working on Japanese." "Want to hear something cool in Russian?" "Really?" "Я люблю робототехнику." Leo points to Alex's robot. "That means I love robotics, too. My friend Ivan taught me all the tech words when he moved here from Kharkiv." Alex's face lights up. Could you teach me to say logic gate in different languages?" For the next hour, the two boys sit cross-legged on Leo's office carpet, teaching each other. Alex demonstrating his robot's functions, while Leo provides multilingual technical commentary that has them both giggling. Eleanor watches from the doorway, remembering how a year ago her colleagues dismissed this brilliant child as worthless trash. "Ms. Vance?" Mikhail appears beside her, wearing the professional attire of his new position as Director of Facilities and Community Engagement. "The scholarship committee is ready for you." In the main boardroom, the same room where Dubois once called Leo garbage, Eleanor addresses a diverse group of teenagers and their parents. The Leo Petrov Initiative has approved full educational scholarships for 15 students this year, she announces. Each recipient was nominated by someone who saw potential that others missed. The recipients include a self-taught coder from a rural town, a teenage single mother pursuing a degree in network security, a young man whose ADHD masked his programming genius, and a nonverbal girl whose ability to communicate through code makes her a natural for AI development. "But before we celebrate," Eleanor continues, "I want you to hear from someone special." Leo enters the room. No longer the invisible child with the cleaning cart, he wears a simple blazer and carries himself with quiet confidence that commands immediate respect. "A year ago, a very powerful man looked at me and saw nothing but a useless peasant boy," he begins. "He thought I was too young, too poor, too different to matter. He was wrong." He pauses, looking at each scholarship recipient. "But here's what I learned. He wasn't wrong because I'm special. He was wrong because every person in this room is special. Every person has gifts that the world needs, even if the world doesn't know it yet." A teenage mother wipes tears from her eyes. "The hardest part isn't proving you're smart enough or good enough. The hardest part is believing it yourself when everyone around you says you're not." Leo's voice grows stronger. "I'm here to tell you you are enough. You are worthy. You are brilliant. And someday you'll get the chance to prove it." He turns to address the room at large. "But this isn't just about the people receiving scholarships today. This is about all of us learning to see differently." Leo walks to the same spot where Dubois once stood, where he once dismissed him as nothing. "Look around your schools, your workplaces, your communities. Who are you not seeing? Whose voice are you not hearing? Whose potential are you missing? Because they don't look like what you expect genius to look like?" The room is completely silent, hanging on every word from this 13-year-old who changed everything. The next time you see someone cleaning an office, ask yourself, what languages do they speak? The next time you pass a child sitting quietly in a corner, ask yourself, what are they thinking about? The next time someone seems different from you, ask yourself, what can they teach me? Leo pauses at the head of the conference table. "Because here's the truth that took me 13 years to learn. Talent doesn't wear expensive suits. Intelligence doesn't need a college degree. Wisdom doesn't require wrinkles. And worth has nothing to do with the size of your paycheck. He looks directly into the camera that's recording this moment for the initiative's website. So, I'm asking you, yes, you watching this, what will you do differently tomorrow? Will you notice someone you've been overlooking? Will you listen to someone you've been dismissing? Will you see potential where others see problems? Leo smiles, the same quiet smile he had when Dubois first underestimated him. Because somewhere out there is another kid like me sitting quietly in a corner, understanding more than anyone realizes. And they're waiting for someone like you to see them. He pauses one final time. Don't make them wait too long. The screen fades to text. Share your story of hidden potential. See the unseen. The Leo Petrov Initiative for Young Innovators. Remember, you never know who might be listening.